More than 40 Republicans are signing a letter demanding President Biden take action after Turkish officials offer a $500,000 bounty for the capture of NBA star Enes Kanter Freedom.
The letter says, quote, "It seems clear that Mr. Kanter Freedom is being targeted by Turkey for exercising his fundamental rights and expressing political opinions which are protected under the U.S. Constitution, and asking the Biden administration if it will take concrete action to hold the Turkish government accountable for violating Kanter Freedom's human rights." And Enes Kanter Freedom joins us now. Great to have you on the program, as always. Why has Joe Biden been so silent when it comes literally to a bounty on the head of an American citizen?
Thank you for having me. Actually, that's the question we've been trying to figure out for the last 2 years, actually since he took to office. I remember last year I was sitting down and having a lunch with one of the senators, and I pretty much asked him, I was like, "Do you think President Biden knows my story?" And he said, "Absolutely." And then I was like, I've been trying to, obviously get in touch with him and his administration, and why hasn't, he answered any of my calls? Well, he pretty much said, just because of Erdogan, just because of Turkey's a NATO ally, unfortunately, he's not going to be able to answer you. So I asked the senator, I was like, "Senator, so you're telling me the most powerful man in the world is scared to meet with a 29-year-old NBA player?" Well, the senator said, "I cannot tell you he's scared, but he basically is. It is unacceptable because I am a U.S. Citizen and I'm getting death threats and I had a bounty on my head in U.S. soil, and I want my president to actually go out there and do something."
Enes, it's pretty clear that the president is ignoring you. What do you want to see President Biden do in your situation?
To actually take some concrete actions, because enough is enough. Erdogan has been abusing not just only my rights, but so many innocent people's life. You look at Turkey. Turkey right now is the #1 country in the world that put the most journalists in jail. Right now, there are 17,000 innocent women and almost 1,000 kids and babies are growing up in Turkish jails. And these people has nothing to do with politics. And all I'm asking from President Biden is, talk about the human rights violations and actually put sanctions on individuals. But right now, just because of NATO, just because of Turkey is an ally, which Turkey does not act like a NATO ally. Turkey, is a more Russia ally than right now is an American ally. People are telling me that it's not going to happen. And President Biden is pretty much, afraid to take any kind of action against Turkey. And it is unacceptable, So I just hope that he will go out there and actually have maybe conversation with President Biden, because I remember before he took to office, the first thing he said, actually the video is still on the internet. He said there's only one problem in Middle East, and it is Erdogan. And once he took to office, he is going to have a conversation with Erdogan, but it did not happen. He's actually pushing Congress to give F-16s to Turkey, which when Turkey is going out there and buying S-400s from Russia. So how does that make sense?
It doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't.
When you swore an oath to the United States of America and the Constitution, when you became a citizen, did you assume the president would have your back when you then exercised your freedom of speech under said Constitution?
We talk about this is the freest country in the world, and we talk about, how President Biden cares about human rights and all around the world. When I swore and become a citizen, I'm still so excited. Don't get me wrong. I'm still so happy and so excited, but I did not think that President Biden or president of this country is going to pick a dictator's side over a U.S. citizen. That is breaking my heart. I have done nothing wrong in this country. I don't even have a parking ticket in this country. All I do is to talk about how beautiful this country is, the freedom we have in this country, the democracy we have in this country. But whenever I see the president of the United States, the most powerful man in the world, are trying to literally going out there and trying to have a diplomacy with these dictatorships. That is killing my heart.
Understand.
And let's hope that with these 40 Republicans who are now backing you, that there will be some traction with your story.
Yes. I do want to thank them one by one individually. I had a conversation with the Republicans.
Enes, we got to run. Sorry to cut you off. Fox and Friends is going to begin now.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.